Something also important to know about the emotional environment of health and kind of more how it relates to everyday life and our experience. I'm told I like to keep things too theoretical in a way, although in reality, I do know the physical experience of these things. I'm just talking about them in a mental way because we are using this media and forum. If I could talk to you in person, it'd be different. However, here we go anyway. So, a more realistic way, if you will, or tangible way to see these things of the emotional health environment, we'd say generally that this environment is very simple. If you cannot appreciate the simple, then you will not be satisfied with the complex. You cannot break the rules of simplicity to get something complex, or therefore it loses its actual character of being health promoting. Therefore, you can do things for money or you can do things for beauty, and this will change the outcome of the thing because of its motivation is different, and or change the health quality of the action itself. All right. So, that being said, let's take a look at history. We'd say that in history, there are very solid but not solid ways of looking at emotion. We'd say that at one point we discovered the fact that things that have high volumes of strong, let's say, emotional integrity in them are very valuable. These probably are the most valuable things that we have to pass down to generations. That or the mistakes of not doing so. So we look at the opposite of this, things that lack emotional quality in them. Therefore, the value is low in the actions themselves. Therefore, never feeling complete, never feeling fulfilled. This thing has to always be continually consumed to feel like it is happening. This is what we'd call generally a compensation for the real thing, which is a lot much more sustainable, but needs more discipline to be obtained, more reflection, more thought, more insight. We then say that knowing this, what would we call these things? I'd say in the uh, eyes of history, we call these values or virtues. And in the opposite, we'd say vices or things that diminish the potential of the individual. Now, knowing that, we'd say that values generally have a high amount of good quality uh, or right use of emotions in them. Therefore, we value them. So, knowing that, we can now contrast history very easily, knowing these two things. We'd say then, from an emotional standpoint anyway, we'd say then, where in history was there good values? And then we'd say, well, what is the outcome of good values? We'd say generally there is a greater expression of the human being. If you follow Maslow's hierarchy of needs and peak experiences, kind of get an idea of this, or creation happens. When both sides of the brains are working together in unison, creativity is the response of the human being to this environment. Therefore, in times where things were being created, and not just any creation, because we can say we can create good things, things promoting health, and create bad things, things taking away from health. We have art, beauty, poetics, and we have guns, wars, and other compensations. So we'd say there's still a greater refinement to creation itself, right? So we'd say the things that inspire people to be more virtuous. And then we'd say, in what cultures were these things there? We're not saying so much that we care about the ethnicity or the geography of these things. We're saying, because we're looking at the emotional environment, we're saying that we're looking for what was health promoting in these things, and therefore leading to uh, the greater environment of health for the people kind of pursuing this way of doing life. And we'd say that most of these things are going to be lost arts in history, lost languages, lost cultural creations, lost ways of thought, lost experiences of life. And because we're there lost, we'd say that something else took over, and we're not going to say it's the most virtuous or more virtuous thing, but it's probably going to be the most immediate thing. We have a way of wanting to speed things up, make things faster, therefore give us more leisure time to live life. That's what we'd say. And so, am I making this up? Let's see. So if we look at life, how have we done things? Have things speed up from how they used to be? What is the cost of speeding up things? This is always the taking out of the human element of the thing. So we'd say at one point you would have to have beautiful penmanship, writing with your ink pen or quill by the light of a candle. Okay, now we have something different. It's a lot faster. You can send it anywhere very quickly, where you'd have to travel to send it. Therefore, if you're only going to have limited amounts of exchange of information with somebody, you will choose words differently. You will dig deeper to express the thing that you want to say. This is kind of the poetry style stuff. You will go more into the feeling. However, at the kind of end of these things, we'd say the passing down of the values, things lessen because now this new way of doing life is faster, and therefore it doesn't have time for moonlight stuff. We want it done at middle of the day, middle of the night. Doesn't matter. We need to produce.